You guys ever messed up? You know, the waitress brings you your food, says enjoy your meal, and you say you too? Those are the kind of mistakes you can tell your friends and laugh about, or suddenly remember when you're trying to sleep at 2 am and just regret all your life decisions. But at least you haven't messed up as badly as the guy in today's video, Gavrilo Princip. Him and a bunch of his friends thought it would be a good idea to kill a world leader, which led to a series of events that eventually led to the worst war in human history. Don't look that up. So without further ado, let's talk about how a teenager caused a war which killed millions all over the globe. But first, a bit of backstory. Most of the European countries had spent the years before the war fucking Africa in the ass and then stealing all its cash like a one-night stand off of Craigslist. And they used all this money they just got to build their armies up even more. So now you had a bunch of countries who all hated each other and who had big enough armies to start an international conflict. So that's exactly what they did. The whole war started because Gavrilo's group murdered this one guy, Archduke Franz Ferdinand from Austria-Hungary, in what's probably the most scuffed assassination of all time. You see, Franz is like the uncle you have whose Facebook is filled with racism and who gets too drunk at family meetings and starts ranting about how the earth is flat. In short, Franz was a massive boomer. He'd call people from Serbia things like pigs, thieves and murderers. Austria-Hungary had also taken Bosnia from Serbia a few years before, so if the Serbians didn't already hate him, they sure as hell did now. He then thought it would be a good idea to go to Bosnia, which had 40% of people from Serbia. He also thought it was a good idea to announce his entire travel plans to the public so they would know exactly where he was at any time of the day. I'm sure this won't cause any problems in the future. Now Franz might not have been the sharpest tool in the shed. I mean, he was basically holding up a giant sign that says, "I sure do hope you guys don't kill me." But Gavrilo and his friends weren't the best either. They weren't soldiers or policemen or anyone who's ever used a weapon before. They were basically a bunch of Serbian college dudes who got bored and decided to commit first-degree murder. And like every plan made on a 4 am on a Thursday, it immediately went to shit. There were 4 assassins in total. 2 of them were supposed to throw some grenades at Franz's car as it passed by, but I guess whatever drugs they were on wore off, so they didn't do anything. The third guy was also supposed to throw a grenade, and he did manage to do that, but instead of going in, the grenade bounced off the side of the car and injured another car of people. Now I could roast this guy's accuracy, but I'm the type of guy to miss a shot when I'm 2 feet away from the hoop, so you know what, at least he tried his best. But apparently failure wasn't an option for him, because he tried to kill himself with a cyanide pill, but the cyanide was expired, so all he got was a stomachache. He then tried to drown himself in a nearby river, but it was summer, so all he ended up with were wet socks. Turns out he was so shit at killing people that he couldn't even kill himself. After this, Gavrilo was like, "Well, my work here is done." "You haven't done anything." "Exactly." So he went to a nearby cafe for a while, and when he came out, guess who he saw right in front of him? That's right, it was Franz Ferdinand himself. Now you might be wondering how Franz ended up right in front of this random cafe. He just wanted some coffee? Oh no, that would make way too much sense to be in this video. So you remember those guys who were injured earlier because of the bomb? Well, Franz decided to pay those guys a visit in the hospital, and so he took a detour from his original plan. But this driver took a wrong turn, which brought Franz right to the cafe where his assassin was. Well, this is awkward. Yep. Well, anyway, I'll just get going. Now Gavrilo might not have been the best at planning murder, but he had enough brain matter rattling around in his head to know a golden opportunity when he saw one. So he took the shot, and despite having no shooting practice, he managed to hit Franz and his wife right in the chest, and they both died. Now when this happened, I'm gonna be honest, nobody really gave a shit. I mean, a lot of people hated Franz, for obvious reasons, and besides, leaders in Europe were getting killed all the time. Also, Franz was an archduke, so his death really wasn't that newsworthy. So people heard about the assassination and were like, "Huh, that just happened. Well, I'll just go on with my daily life. I sure do hope a war doesn't happen anytime soon." Now obviously after the assassination, Austria was a bit mad. I mean, its future leader was just killed in broad daylight by people from the country it hated the most, so I'd expect them to be a little concerned. They gave Serbia a list of demands that basically boiled down to, "Fuck you, we're taking over." But the Serbians preferred being Serbians instead of Austro-Hungarians because it's a goddamn mouthful. This made Austria really mad, so it declared war on Serbia. Now at this point the war should have been over. Big country fights a smaller one, big country wins, and that's it. There's probably 10 whole casualties and everyone forgets about it in a week. But then Russia got involved and everything fell apart. You see, Russia and Serbia were really close. Russia considered Serbia its orthodox cousin. So what do you do if your cousin's being bullied at school? You show up to the school with a knife and the problem just solves itself. So Russia decided to declare war on Austria-Hungary for declaring war on Serbia. Now I think we can all agree that when someone twice your size is telling you to back off, you should probably do it unless you want to end up on the front page of r/fight porn. But Austria-Hungary kept going. Germany was friends with Austria, and so they declared war on Russia. France was friends with Russia, so they didn't exactly declare war on Germany, they just moved their entire army right next to the German border. You know, just in case. This made Germany mad, so they declared war on France, but to get to France, they had to go through Belgium. Now Britain, wanting any excuse to not be the third wheel, was like, Belgium, don't worry, I'll defend you. Actually, I'm completely fine. You can thank me later. And so Britain declared war on Germany. And if the map wasn't already confusing enough, this move caused literally every country on the planet to get involved in the war because they were part of the British Empire. Even countries who were halfway across the world were now dragged into this and had to fight in the war. And to be fair, most of them were really excited. I mean, they were mostly bored guys who had nothing else to do, but still, people were pretty happy to risk their lives in a faraway land so their country could have bragging rights. If only they knew what was coming. But that's a video for later, so subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss part 2 where we talk about the wackiest shenanigans of World War I. And as for Gavrilo, well, I mean, he just went to prison and died there a few months later. Yeah, there's no fancy ending where he escapes the police and becomes a gang leader in El Salvador or something. He just achieved his life goals and then died. Weirdly motivational. Anyway, that's the story of how a teenager caused an international conflict. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe and hit the bell for part 2. And check out some other videos by clicking right here. I'll see you guys later.